What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Fired up, man. I'm glad I got on this call early. I'm taking notes, I'm taking screenshots, and I'm learning from one of the best in the entire business. And I'm so excited to be here today, you guys. I am so fired up. Thank you for having me. And if you'll just stay with me for the next little bit, I want to provide you max value. You guys in for that? Let me hear on the chat. You guys in for some max value right now? All right, let's get started. So let me tell you a little bit about my story. I'm just going to keep it quick because I'm really excited to get into my talk. I started at 23 years old. I spent almost half my life with this company. I was making $11 an hour at a local restaurant when I was recruited. One day after my work, I was sitting at a coffee shop by myself, contemplating the meaning of my life. I just spent 4 years at university, spent a bunch of money. Nobody would hire me. I had a job for 9 years at the local restaurant, making $11 an hour. I was the head baker, and I was really starting to wonder, what was my life going to look like? I'd hit that point in my life where I had to figure things out, and I was starting to realize that life wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Things weren't just going to get handed to me. I was going to have to work for everything, and that's not the vision that I was sold when I went into university. So there I was. You guys ever have these moments where you just know God is sending you a message, that God is just tapping you on the shoulder? Anybody ever have any of those moments in their life, or is it just me? And my angel walked in the door. Her name was Susan, and she walked into a local coffee shop, and she sat down at my table, and she invited me to a meeting. And I came out to a meeting on a cold Thursday night in Edmonton, Alberta. It was minus 30 degrees Celsius, which is pretty cold. I think it's minus 20 Fahrenheit. And I drove, and I remember there was a snowstorm, and I don't know if it was 8 inches of snow or 12 inches of snow, but I had a truck, so it wasn't a big deal. Those of us in Canada, we drive trucks up here. In Texas, you drive trucks too, right? For different reasons. And I drive to this meeting, and I opened those doors, Juan, and there were 60 people in that room, and I sat in the second row, and I don't remember a word that was said to me that night. But I remember exactly how they made me feel. And I wanted to hang on to that feeling. And I came back the next day, and I never thought for 1 minute my entire life that I'd be in this industry. Not for 1 minute. But it's funny how God operates. He put me in that meeting that night. He put me in that follow-up interview the next day. He gave my mom 2 pages of notes to send me to ask my trainer. And I asked all pages of notes that my mom had for me because she was really concerned about me, and I got all my questions answered, and I crumpled up that piece of paper and I threw it in the garbage can, and I made a decision. I made a decision that day that if I was going to call the first person on my top 25 list, that was the day I decided I was never going to quit. Because I knew early on that almost everybody quit at 23 years old. And I wanted to be different. And I wanted to be the one that made it. So I did everything that I had to do to put myself in a position to win. I came to every meeting. I took all the notes. I showed up early. I went to Las Vegas convention my first year, which we'll talk about in a second. My first year, $2,000 trip. Hadn't made $1 yet when I booked it. And I get my butt to convention, and I'm sitting there near the top of the rafters on the right side of the stage at MGM Grand. And I saw Eric Olson making $250,000 a year as a 22-year-old. And then I heard Mr. Ed Milet get up on stage and deliver a talk for the ages. And he said, if you want to live a big life, you got to make some big decisions. You got to make some big decisions. And I made a decision that night that I was going to leave that convention. I was going to be changed. And I came back after the convention. The next 7 months, I put 6 figures in my bank account. I got my ring as a marketing director, and I started to rise. See, I saw this platform as my opportunity. For the first time in my life, it didn't matter what my illnesses were. It didn't matter when I hit puberty in school. It didn't matter if I was picked on or bullied or how many friends I had. None of that stuff mattered. This was my shot. This was a game that I could play. It was fair for all of us. I was so thankful. I'm so grateful today. I thank God every day for this platform. So there I was, a year in. Little old Steve, 23 or 24 years old now. Quit his job at the restaurant. All his friends told me he was crazy. All his bosses told me he was crazy for leaving. He would never make any money there. Journey to SMD. Short time after that, things were going pretty good. Started to acquire a lot of clients. Made some good money. Was a bit of a producer, but I was building people. Had 10, 12 licenses on my team. 3, 4 years in. Nothing crazy, but I was making money. I was happy. I was growing as a human. And things just started to take off in 2008. And I guess the Lord had another message for me to learn. 2009, many of you heard this story before. 2009, my 4th year in the business, January 6th. I got so sick with my chronic illness that I had been fighting since I was 2 years old that I was forced to have my rectum cut out and half of my colon taken out. And I prayed and I begged that surgeon an hour before, please leave half of my colon in if you can. It's a very different life with my half of your colon in versus the whole thing taken out. Very different life. So I got out of that 7-hour surgery. My whole life had changed. Everything that I knew about morning routine, operating, ongoing chronic pain, everything, how I was going to use the washroom. Everything changed that day. When I stood in front of the mirror naked, now I had something to look at attached to my stomach. I'd lost my confidence. I'd lost 70 pounds. Couldn't look myself in the eye. Hated what I was. Hated where I was. Started to recover physically and mentally around the middle of the year. And then a month after that, my wife walked in, or my girlfriend walked in, and I was passed out on the floor. The Crohn's disease had come up and closed off my esophagus, and I'd passed out. And I was lying on the front step, preparing to die. My wife called the ambulance, and they came in, and they got my airway open, and I was blue, and it kind of perked me up, rushed me to the hospital. That was August of 2009, and I didn't come out of the hospital until November 30th. They took out the other half of my colon, 8 feet of my intestine. At the time, it was the hardest thing I'd ever had to deal with. But I look back on that year, it was the year that I needed. It was the year that I needed. It was the year that I needed for me to appreciate life, for me to wake up every morning with gratitude in my heart, for me to see a challenge now for what it really is and not blow it up into something bigger. I needed that year for me to realize what this business was, what this opportunity was for all of us. I needed that year to be reminded that I could do this and raise a family, and I was doing it for them. See, before that year, I was a bit of a producer, and with the recruiting, I was like selling by day and kind of recruiting by night. I thought I was a builder, but I was just a seller and a recruiter. I wasn't a builder. And I came out of that year at the end of 2009 to start 2010, and I made a decision. I made a decision that I was going to get out of the pure financial services industry, and I was going to get into the distribution of financial education industry. And I was so thankful that I made $150,000 that year in and out of the hospital. I was so thankful for the 11 licensed teammates I had 4 years in that didn't quit and stuck with it. I was so grateful for another opportunity in life, a second life. My first life had ended. This was the beginning of my second life. And I was excited to have WFG part of that journey. And I reinvented myself. And from 11 licenses in 2010 to over 900 now in our downline, 13 short years later, I'm so proud of what we built. And I want you to know that it's not about always building it the fastest. Do we want to go faster? Heck yeah. Are we hungry? Heck yeah. Are we always strategizing? How do we catch so-and-so? And how do we win? And how do we win this contest? Heck yeah. But it's not always the fastest person that wins the game long term. It's who could endure. Who's got the staying power? Who's got the vision? And maybe I'm describing you right now. And maybe you're in a dark hole. Maybe you're in a tough place. And maybe you need to reinvent yourself. But I want to let you know that it's okay. It's okay. And I love what Juan talked about, the fundamentals, the ratios. I'm going to give you a little different talk today. I'm going to talk a bit more about winning mindsets in the new era. See, the new era is all about growth and retention. It's all about growth and retention. It's about licensing and retention of licensing. See, there's this report. There's this report where you can go and find it on my WFG. It's called Licenses by Month. You want to know a crazy exercise? Go into license, not right now, but go into licenses by month later today. Type in a bunch of code numbers of your SMDs or MDs or associates that have been around a couple of years. And what you'll notice is there's a lot of people in our company that have not grown their amount of licenses in the last year. But they licensed 20 new people, but they had 20 new people quit. This is not just about licensing more people. Absolutely it is. And man, we got to get super focused and we should license 100% of the people and let's dial it in. But this is also about retention. We got to retain people because if you add 5 and lose 5, you're at a net zero. This is about growth. This is about growing your business once and for all. So my first point I want you to write down is this. Write this down. Build it right. Build it right. You want to build a business that lasts. You want to build a business that's long-term. It's not the fastest. It's who's going to endure. I want you thinking 5, 10, 15 years down the road. I want you to be around in 25 years. I've seen so many people come in and they rise up and they fall and they rise up and they fall and they break records and then 50% of their business falls off and it's all big policies that aren't good for people. I've seen that so many times in our company. Cycle in, cycle out, cycle in, cycle out. You want to know the stat that I'm most proud of, Juan, in my business? We've had a minimum 25% growth in cash flow for 12 years in a row. We've grown our cash flow by 25% a year, 12 years in a row. Hey, am I looking for a 100% doubling period this year? Heck yeah, I am. And I know we can do it, but not at the cost of me not building it right. Don't take shortcuts. Hold high standards. Be aware of your language. And you want to know something? You know how you're going to get to a 30% licensing ratio like Juan talked about? Do you want to give you a tip? Here's your language. Everybody on our team gets licensed. Everybody. Hey, Sarah, just before I bring you on board, let me tell you a bit about our team. On our team, everybody gets licensed. We license 100% of the people, 100% of the time. Everybody on the team gets licensed every time. Can you commit to that? Can you commit to being one of those licensed that gets licensed every time? Yeah, I can be. Great, let's do it. Because if you're trying to hit a 30% licensing ratio by talking to your downline about hitting a 30% licensing ratio, here's what you're going to start to think. You're going to start to think, well, only 30 out of 100 really need to do it. And then automatically you're going to think to myself, well, maybe Mark's one of the 70 that don't. You know, maybe Kim's just one of the 70 that aren't going to do it. No, everybody gets licensed 100% of the time. And then when everybody gets licensed 100% of the time, to Juan's point, everybody that gets licensed makes $1,000. Everybody. And then everybody that makes $1,000 renews past 2 years. Everybody. Now, is it always going to look like that? Obviously not, but that's got to be the mindset, the language, the culture, the environment that we create. This is the new era. Does that make sense? That's the new era. That's the winning mindset. Second thing I want you to write down is this. You got to treat people well. You got to treat people well. See, right now in the world, our economy, other companies, you got to treat people better than ever. Isn't it crazy how other companies are treating people? They're laying them off. Facebook or Google sent people an email. I read this article about 10 years ago. Google was like this amazing company, even 5 years ago, to work with. And they had napping pods and everybody was kumbaya. Everybody was like cradling each other to sleep every night. And oh my God, I'm a part of the Google gang and hashtag Google. And oh my God, this is amazing. And now, you know what Google did to repay their employees that have been around forever? They sent him an email to lay them off. People are expendable. Banks aren't paying attention to them. Their employees aren't paying attention to them. Nobody's paying attention to them. You better be. You better be treating people really well because, listen, even the gal on your team that hasn't written a sale in 8 months who kind of annoys you, they're still sacrificing too. Almost everybody on your team wants to win. Most of them just don't know how. How do you treat people? Do you treat people like you'd want to be treated? Do you treat people like they're your kids, like they're your dad, like they're your mom? Or every once in a while, are we taking liberties with people? Are we throwing shots across the bow? Are we a little bit passive aggressive? Are we forgetting to remind ourselves it's a volunteer army? See, there's two ways that you can lead in the new era. You can tell people that you're the leader and they need to follow you, or you can treat people so good, that they wake up every morning and all they want to do is make you proud. All they want to do is impress you. And hey, they're not all going to be winners. They're not all going to be producers. But what level are we treating everybody at? See, I think a lot of people give up on people too early. I think a lot of us aren't patient enough with some of our teammates. I think a lot of us forget that they have families just like you and me. Even I forget. And if we're these leaders that have this mindset of what have they done for me lately? That is a bad way to think. And we all get to that phase. See, with obsession, sometimes when we're obsessed, which is good to be obsessed, sometimes with obsession, we lose patience. And we're discouraging to other people. And we get so freaking obsessed that we start coming out of a place of fear. What's not happening and what people aren't doing. And it comes across. Anybody ever felt like that before? I know that I have. I want you to treat people better today than ever before. I want you to know something. 10 years ago, if I treated people really good, it didn't really matter that much because everybody got treated really well everywhere they went. Today, you treat people well. It is so freaking powerful. Today, in today's era, in 2023, treating people well will help them endure an inordinate amount of newness and craziness and licensing failure and people quitting. It'll help them endure all of that stuff by treating them really good. Very, very important. Number 3, you got to build relationships through constant communication. See, constant communication is the key in the new era. A lot of us are virtual. A lot of us have teammates all over. You have to fill the relationship bucket with people every single day. The people in WFG are the people in the industry that don't love building relationships, that don't love being on the phone and communicating, voice, right? The people that don't invest the time in building that relationship, those are the ones that have people leave. Those are the ones that have people on their team that are fractioned. See, write this down. Mindset is transferred through communication. You don't transfer mindset through lecture learning. I'm not going to be able to transfer my mindset to you as effectively as you are to your team by picking up the phone. This is a communication business. Not just a WhatsApp business, not just a text message business, but all forms of communication. You have to get to know your future leaders at the core. One of the things that Ed Milet taught me early on, he said, hey, if you want to build a future big leader, your goal should be to get into their wedding party. And if they're already married, if they were going to get married again, they should be picking you to stand up for the wedding or you to be the MC and Juan knows like how many weddings have we been asked to be in or wedding. I have a master of ceremonies. I have to get my certificate now because every single year I'm marrying a new couple in our business or I'm in the wedding party. Or I'm emceeing the after party. Why? Because when you build relationships with people, they're in. Because business is not always going to go like this, you guys. So you don't need the relationship part when things are going great. You need the relationship part when they feel like everything's falling apart. They have to know that you care. You have to check in with them on their kids. See, there's a trust that builds when you get to know somebody. And here's the most important part about why you need to be building a relationship. That relationship bucket needs to be so full so that strategically, ready for this? Strategically, you can make withdrawals and challenge them. How do you change people? You don't change people by building the relationship. You build the relationship so that you can challenge them. And by challenging them, that's when they grow. I had a marketing director meeting on Thursday. I don't remember my whole career having a meeting like that. It was one of those meetings where it was gloves off. You could hear me speaking from the other side of the office. But every single one of those men and women on that call know I love them and know I care about them and know I'd take a bullet for them. I've been building the relationship for years. Thursday, I took some withdrawals. I might have even emptied the bucket with a few. Every single one of them after reached out to me and said, oh my God, I needed that. And most of them have already been changed just since that moment, since that call. Had I not had a relationship and built that up and that trust, I would not have been able to make those withdrawals and not been able to change them. In fact, people that you challenge that take things the wrong way, that's an indication that you have not built the relationship on the front end. You don't know them well enough. They don't trust you enough. Yes or yeah? If this is making sense, let me hear in the chat. This is so freaking important. This is so freaking important. See, you're trying to get your recruit to production ratio up. You're trying to get your recruit to licensing ratio up. You're trying to get people to stick around. Juan is one of the best in the game at all this stuff. And he just laid out 10 keys. And what I'm telling you is how to take what I'm telling you and tie it in a bow around those 5 ratios that you better get done for your homework that he asked you. This is like game-changing stuff. Game-changing stuff. My 4th point. In the new era, you ready for this one? You got to sell our business where we win. You got to get good at selling our business where we win because there's areas in our business where we don't win. So are you really, really good at teaching your team, selling your team the dream on why our model is the best and where we win? So where does our company win? Where are we the best? Where are we first by a mile? Not in our personal contract, but who cares about personal contract when I'm about to explain to you what I'm about to explain? See, our business is the best model for building frontline leaders. Listen to me. There's not another company that will reward you more for spending time building frontline leaders. I had a joker from a different company try and challenge me on this today. He's like, well, I make more money at this company. And yeah, I said, you make more money at that company. I said, but how come, where's all your big money earners in that company? See, it's funny. These companies, they're like, you can make more off your own pen and you can make more money with us. Well, where's all the big money earners? Where are they? Where's the girl making $2.5 million? Where's the guy making $1 million a month? Where are all these people? Oh, right. They all make 300 to 400. The top people, 300 to 400, writing 400 sales a year. Yeah, you know what? Here, they might have to write 450 sales to make that. They write 400 there. Who cares? You know where I can spend my time? I have financial incentive to teach you how to make $1 million a year. I have incentive. My model screams, spend a bit of time helping families, especially in the beginning, and then spend the rest of your career reaching down, grabbing a single mom like you, a mechanic like you, a school teacher like you. I get to spend my entire life reaching down, lift you up, teach you how to do what I do. And we actually have big money earners because we get paid to build frontline leaders. What if your entire team could explain it like that? Someone the other day said, Steve, if you were king for a day, what's one thing you'd change in our company? I said, what would I change? I'd take my 66% contract and I would lower it down to 50. What? What do you mean lower it down to 50? I said, yeah, another 16% spread on an unlimited amount of frontline leaders. I take that 16% and I throw it in the super base override. I would give everybody way more incentive to build frontline leaders. Now, it's not realistic and probably wouldn't fly and there'd be a lot of unhappy people. And I think our model is great the way it is. But I hope that you can explain that to your team from day one where we win. It's funny when people approach my guys, be like, hey, come over here and make more money. And their first question is, show me all your big money earners. Like, send me a screenshot of all the big money earners. They can't produce it. These guys have these big teams of 400 or 500 people. making 200 grand a year. And most of it's off their own pen. Sell me the dream on having 500 licenses and making this much spread. I'd rather be writing all the sales myself. My goodness, where we win matters. And I'm ready, man. I'm ready to go toe to toe. Get out of here. Get out of here. We have the best backing, the best leaders, the best environment for building frontline leaders. And hey, by the way, you're here, and that matters. Juan's here, and I'm here. There's no other company in this world that has you there, Juan there, and me there. So we are the best. For those 3 reasons, we're the damn best. So let's go. Fired up. Get me on a call with this joker. Let's dance, baby. Fired up. Man, I had a meeting with another guy from a company down where you guys are from. I won't tell you the name of the company, but it rhymes with he. I won't tell you the company. And this gentleman's got almost 50 licenses in his downline, and we're just in the process of bringing him over, and he's going to bring 50 people over from his team because nobody has it better. And I didn't sell this person on personal contract, and I didn't sell this person on being a producer forever. I sold this person on building a business of frontline leaders, and we win. We win. Fired up. All right, number 5. Number 5, cinco, número 5. Build a social media presence. Build a social media presence. And I built some slides for you guys. I am so serious right now about delivering value. I built slides, and I don't do slides, but I did it just for you. I did it for Delphina. I did it for Melissa, for Mara, right? Everybody on this call. Alberto, this was just for you, okay? So I'm going to give it to you straight. It's not the strongest or the most intelligent who will survive, but those who can best manage change. Now, I'm going to preface this call. If you started making $3 million a year 5 years ago, you don't need to get on social media because you've already made it. But you'll probably have to get your downline on it for them to make it. How we got big 10 years ago is different than how we're going to get big today. Now, do you have to be on social media to win big? I'm not saying that. I just believe that it's the future. Think about it where it's coming 5 years and think about where it's going. So here's why I think you should build a social media presence. I have 9 points. Number 1 is social media is the new website. See, I remember like 7-8 years ago, we used to get so mad at WFG, like, when's my next website coming out? And when are you going to fix worldfinancialgroup.com? And when are we going to get like a real website? Man, forget the website. You are the website. See, here's the problem with a website. A website tells you what you know. Go check out my website. That tells that prospect what you know. You want to know the new era? Write this down. Nobody cares what you know until they feel like they know who you are. Nobody cares what you know. There's so much advice. So there's so many people talking about different things and crypto this, and nobody gives a damn what we have to say until they feel like they know who we are. So you can build that who we are on the start of an appointment, building rapport really quickly, getting good at all those things, or you can also build a social media presence so it's a window into who you are. Oh, she's a mom. She's got 3 kids. Oh, she was a former hairdresser? Wow, she really does love what she does. Holy smoke, she's really committed. You know what? Wow, maybe it's not one of those things. You know what? I am looking forward to this call on Tuesday. You kidding me? Oh, we can get all that out of the way before they meet with you? You don't need 9,000 followers. You don't need a YouTube channel. My God, I would point all of your prospects to Juan's account, Olson's account, maybe some of my YouTube videos that I'm not sure if you guys noticed. I'm making YouTube videos for insurance agents. Like, you tell me if you should be using some of this stuff, right? Juan, Olson, just directing to a few people, right? This is who we are. Hey, tomorrow night, I'm going to explain to you a little bit about what we do. Here's a little bit more information on who we are and what we stand for. Number 2, it's a window into who you are. I gave that one away. It's a window into who you are. Okay. Number 3, it's a 24/7 marketing machine. Man, do you know that people, they're going to go and they're going to check you out, and maybe it's 7 people a week. They go, they check your profile. They're watching your videos. They may not like anything, right? I'm not focused on likes. I'm not focused on that. Was so 6 years ago. Who's liking my stuff? How many likes do I get? How many people are pushing the heart button? I don't care about that because my social media account is my marketing machine. It's my website. It's the window into who I am. Everything I put up there is part of me. It's part of my soul. It's a part of what I believe in. It's a part of who I am. It's a part of who you are as a person. Okay? It's the lighthouse versus the tugboat. Every morning you can wake up and you can be a tugboat. And you know what? We do have to be a tugboat some days. What's a tugboat? I get up, I go out to the sea, which is prospecting, and I find some people that are broken down and I tug them back into shore. And then I fill my tank full of gas and then I go out, and that's probably the going on a prospecting part. And we still have to do that. We still have to be the tugboat. But you could also be the lighthouse. The lighthouse wakes up every morning and just focuses on shining really bright and providing so much value in people's lives. Guess what happens? Starts to attract you. I just got a DM again this morning. Again. I think I've recruited 8 licensed agents in the last 120 days that have joined my team from other companies. Another guy this morning. Hey, Holbrook, you're a stud, dude. I want to do lunch with your spouse and my spouse. It's time. This guy works for an investment firm in Canada. I've answered 1 or 2 of his replies on stories. I've never solicited him. Boom. Want to be part of what you're about. Not really sure exactly what I'm getting myself into, but I want to be a part of it. My God. And that has nothing to do with follower count. That has everything to do with a window into who you are. It's the virtual butts in seats. So back in the day, Juan and I used to talk about butts in seats, right? You have 50 people show up to the meeting. You had 50 butts in seats. Somebody would quit. They would never come back. They were off the list. You'd never see them again when they quit. They were like witness protection program. You'd go to 7-Eleven, you'd see their face on the side of a milk carton, right? They changed their social. You like, where'd this guy go? It's like ninja dust, like poof. Like LeBron James, when he starts the game, he goes like this. Boom. Those are some butts in seats. Now, everybody who's connected with you on social media, they watch your stories. They're watching from home. Wednesday night, you're doing your BPM meeting. They're sitting at home eating a bag of Cheetos, watching it live on stories. Then they kind of like look around. They look at their spouse. They look at their kids. They look at their job, 8 a.m. tomorrow. They go, F that, Juan. I've been doing some thinking. Yeah, hell yeah, you've been doing some thinking. You've been front row, baby. You've had a front row seat for 6 months to watch this thing go. And Sarah, who started the same time as you, just got her MD promotion, and you're at home eating a bag of Cheetos. You don't have to say any of that. Because they know. They watched the whole thing. They watched the whole thing. Improve team communication. I do so much of my communicating with my team through social media. I'm lifting them up by reposting their stories. That's lifting somebody up. See, back in the day, the only time we'd lift people up is at the meeting. Say their name at the meeting. Now, I repost their story and say something nice. They hit me up going, thank you so much for noticing me. I'm 3rd generation to you. I just got licensed. It really means a lot. And I'm like DMing them. I'm really proud of you, Shannon, right? You're a champion. It's great to meet you and your fiance because I care. And it's a way for me to communicate quickly. It's harder for me to get her cell phone number and text her. And then it's just, hey, I'm DMing people all the time on my team, all the time, all day when I have time. Not all day, but when I'm on there, I'm DMing people. I'm reposting stories. I'm probably 30 minutes a day, but I'm communicating. It's a form of communication. 7, it helps with team retention. I've had way less people quit. Because they love the environment. They're so proud to be part of a team that's on it. They get to post these stories and their market's starting to be like, what's going on? Like, what do you, right? When people on your team are posting on social media, you know what they're doing? They're telling their market that they're in this for real and they have the less chance of quitting. You can't be posting about your business today and quit tomorrow. The people that quit the business are on social media. They're not posting because they haven't really sold out to it. All of your teammates that are on it, that are selling out to it, they're the ones that are doing well. And they might not even be getting a lot of traction from social media, but they're openly telling their market that they're here to stay and they're in business. And they're posting videos from you. They're like, do you guys see what I'm starting to say here? They're introducing their market to their leaders. It's game on, baby. Game on. Helps with team prospecting. Oh my goodness. So many prospects are coming from social media, right? But again, it's not just about you taking a stance on political. I'll talk about that in a second. And it builds a personal brand. Hey, no offense, WFG doesn't make Steve. Steve makes WFG. Juan and I aren't, look, we're Let's be real. We make WFG. I love WFG. I love our company, but we make the company. You make the company. WFG isn't Juan isn't WFG. Juan is Juan Jaime. WFG is his platform. Brand you. You're a mom. You're an advocate of Christ if that's what you believe in. You want to help people, but be careful. But be careful when you're on social media. Don't be on your soapbox talking about dividing and conquering. Don't be talking about your political views. See, I want to be a leader of all people. I want to lead all kinds of people from all walks of life. I want to lead everybody. I want to lead Democrats and Republicans. I want to lead all sexual orientations. I want to lead everybody. I want to be a leader of all people, all encompassing. Do I have my personal opinions behind the scenes on who the party is? Of course I do. And if I know you well enough, we can talk about that stuff. But I'm not going to get on there and talk about soapbox and oh my God. And right, hey, here's the reality. Half your team loves vaccinations and half your team doesn't. I don't give a crap what side you are on. I have people on my team that are so anti-vax, they want to put a sticker on their car. Okay, do that. And I got a team that's so for it that if you don't do it, they don't want to talk to you about it. Great. Do I recommend being in any one of those hardcore camps building a business? Not really. Do I support all people? 100%. 100%. I want to be a leader of all people. And that's got to be reflected in your social media. Does that make sense, you guys? Okay. We're going to get to Q&A in a couple minutes here. So you can ask me questions about this. All right. Fired up. Number 6. Understand the window that we're in right now. Guys, we're in a window. What do you know about windows? Windows close. We're in this unique time right now in our opportunity where people are freaked out about their jobs. Interest rates are super high, which is putting a crunch on mortgage brokers. Real estate's not moving as fast as it used to. Real estate agents are in trouble. You know, I know some good friends that are part of a rev share recruiting real estate model, and they're down 40% in rev share. They're down 40% in their real estate company and profit sharing. All their incomes are down. We're in a window right now where interest rates are up, inflation's up, people are looking for change, people are looking for financial education. The banks haven't done a great job. Some of the banks in the US are even falling apart right now. We're in a window, and I don't know how long this window is going to last. But we're in a cycle. Our business cycles, and right now we're in this very, very special cycle where it's the best time to recruit people and it's the best time to be providing financial education. Have you been looking around lately at how many different walks of life are now joining our company? Isn't it crazy to see how many people are walking away from professional careers after all these years joining this industry? I've never seen anything like it. So I'm telling myself that I'm in a window. How long's the window? I don't know. Is it a 6-month window? Is it a 6-year? Is it a 20-year? Will it always be this good? I don't know. But I'm not going to wait to find out. Guess what I'm doing right now? I'm going to find the best people that I know. I'm attracting the best freaking people that I know. The best. Point number 7. There's 2 points left, and then we'll do Q&A. Point number 7. You got to realize that it's up to you. Write that down. It's up to you. It's not up to your spouse. It's not up to your kids. It's up to you. See, here's the reality. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's going to do this for you. Nobody's going to figure out the recruiting. Nobody's going to figure out the licensing. Nobody's going to figure out the making money part. You got to figure that out. You have to be your biggest advocate. See, you got to be a driver, not a passenger. I find at times in businesses like ours, there's a lot of passengers, but you got to be a driver. You have to do it. You have to do it. You have to be the energizer. You have to be the competitor. You can't expect to recruit competitive people if you're not willing to compete. You can't expect to recruit people that are going to personally produce if you aren't willing to personally produce. See, here's the great part about our business. You basically just got to figure out you. You got to figure out you. And when you figure out you, there's a whole bunch of people that would love to do what you do. You don't have to learn to be this amazing leader to thousands of people your first year in the business, first 5 years. My goodness. But you have to look yourself in the mirror and realize this is on you. This is up to you. That nobody's coming. When you're having a dark day and you feel all alone in this business, it's up to you. When your best person quits, it's up to you. When your upline feels distant and you feel all alone, it's up to you. It's up to you to figure it out. It's up to you to reach out. It's up to you to get the momentum going. And that's the best part. That's why you joined, remember? Because you wanted the ball. You wanted to be in control. You wanted to design your life. You wanted to be the architect of your future. But are we taking personal responsibility for the fact that it's on you? It's on me. I'm at where I'm at because of the decisions that I've made. Yes, do I want to be an SCVC? Heck yeah. Do I wish I was FC? For sure I do. Are there things that I'd go back and tweak along the way? I guess knowing what I know now, yeah. It's unrealistic to go back though. Just work on you. And my last point is this, number 8. Just remember it's so worth it. It's so worth it because if not this, then what? If not this, then what? Where else am I going to go? Where else am I going to go where I can make big money? Where I can and encourage to save big money? Where else can I go to have an unbelievable work-life balance? An unbelievable, and I say unbelievable because it's not believable to most people. It's not believable. It's unbelievable. Our work-life balance is unrealistic to most people. It doesn't make sense to most people that you could hop on 3-4 Zoom calls, go to the park, come back, have dinner with your family, hop on 2 more calls, go to a couple in-person retreats. That doesn't make sense to people. It sounds too good to be true, which means you should probably be doing more of it. And you get to do all of this while making a real impact for people. A real impact. On the financial education side. Man, we just had a gal on our team, another gal on our team. She got diagnosed with breast cancer. She's in her 50s. She just got approved for a $250,000 critical illness benefit. She had 2 policies. $250,000 policy. You mean I get to control my hours, have a great work-life balance, make big money, save big money, be around great people, struggle with a group of people, and I get to make a real impact? Do something where we're not trying to get people in debt. We're not trying to sell them a product they need to take out a loan to buy. A business about relationships, a business about people, a business where I have a leader like Juan who gets on a call and talks about doing it right. More persistency, more net point ratio, less policies falling off the books. Am I dreaming? Am I dreaming right now? Where am I? Where am I right now? What is this? Of course it seems too good to be true. But are you putting in the work? Are you putting in the work? And if not, it's okay. Now's the time. Now's the time. Man, my son's been in and out of the hospital the last couple months. It's just, I don't even like talking about it. I really don't. But I get so many messages from people because we like to share our journey. We're pretty open about that on social. He's always in there for infusions and operations, and he's got severe Crohn's, just like his dad. He got diagnosed at the same age of 2, and he's on a special journey, just like his dad. You know, he's bleeding. He's bleeding from areas that you would not want to be bleeding from. And he gets iron deficient, and he's on immunosuppressants, and he's got open sores all over his hands and arms, and he goes to get them burned off every week, and never heard the guy complain. Never heard him complain. But man, it's so awesome being able to be there for him. And when I'm not there for him, my wife, the other week, he had four days in a row of doctor's appointments. My wife just picked him up from school and took him, and we just chilled. I came in. He was in the hospital for a bit the other week, and he had a severe strep and an pneumonia, and Dad got to go in there and hang out and cancel a meeting. And what's this all for? You guys, one day our time's going to be up. I mean, I'm 41 years old. Both of my grandfathers died in their 70s. I mean, I got 40 years left. Like when I look back on how hard we worked and how hard we pushed, like I want to make sure that it's all been worth it. My God, it's so worth it. It's been so worth it. But it's your responsibility to get over the hump. You got to build a business. You got to get to SMD. You got to do some of the stuff that Juan's talking about because you can't just exist here. You can't just go through the motions here. You got to get on the other side. You got to build that business. You got to get to EMD and CEO and EVC. And it's not as hard as you think it is. It's just consistency and effort and putting in the time and working on the mindset like I talked about and taking all the ratios that Juan talked about and putting it together and just having fun doing it. Because you're going to make it here. I can't tell you exactly where you're going to end up. I can't predict, is it 300 licenses, 200, 1,000? You're all going to end up at different spots. But you're all going to make it if you don't quit. So it's up to you to develop that vision, stay on track, be consistent, reinvent yourself, stay close to your leaders, and remind yourself of all those 8 things that I just talked about.